Now, consider this. Sunny Hostin is one of the co-hosts on The View. Here's what she said about people complimenting Judge Brown Jackson for being articulate.
And the other thing about that that was very disconcerting to me is that she was treated differently because she's a black woman.
Yeah.
And I stand by that. I don't want anybody to all lives matter that issue. It is true. It is. She suffered so many microaggressions. I remember Senator Kennedy telling her, "You're articulate."
You know,
PSA for white people and white men everywhere.
Don't say that.
Call a Harvard law educated woman articulate, clean, well spoken. Don't do it
unless you would do it to your mom.
Yeah.
Unless you have that same conversation.
You mean the way Senator Biden referred to this Harvard law educated person?
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Yeah.
Memo to white people, does that apply to Joe Biden? Are you suggesting Joe Biden is racist? Because you certainly suggested that the questioning of Brown Jackson was racism.
She is an independent juror. She stays in her lane, despite the fact that so many people tried to take her off her game, put her in a place that was uncomfortable. She became focused, laser focused on making sure that the American public saw who she is, the three-step process that she used in looking at cases, the fact that she's completely transparent, she's not afraid of any questions, and she really did handle herself with a great deal of grace and ease. Racism, sexism are alive and well. If ever anyone felt that they were not alive, all they had to do was look at the television set and see the tone of some of the questions.
Now, this person is the former president of the National Bar Association, which is the black equivalent of the American Bar Association. So to ask the questions of Judge Brown Jackson is to demonstrate that, quote, racism and sexism are alive and well, end of quote. One more time. Judge Janice Rogers Brown, black female, daughter of a sharecropper, granddaughter of a sharecropper, single mom, works her way through UCLA Law School, appointed to the California Supreme Court. And in California, once you're appointed, you have to run for election. She won with 76% of the vote in a left-wing state like California, higher percentage than any of the other justices that were running that year. And when she was nominated for the D.C. Court of Appeals, the American Bar Association rated her as unqualified. Her nomination was held up for 2 years. Joe Biden and the others filibustered it. Ultimately, she made it, and then Joe Biden went on television and said if George W. Bush has the unmitigated gall to nominate her to the Supreme Court, she would be filibustered. Now, I mentioned that she was rated unqualified by the American Bar Association, and there was a study showing that if you are a conservative, you're going to get much lower ratings than if you're a liberal. Well, a conservative nominee named Miguel Estrada was rated eminently qualified unanimously by the American Bar Association. His nomination was still held up by the Democrats, including Joe Biden, for 2 years, during which time the stress was so great on Miguel Estrada's wife, she miscarried. Ultimately, he withdrew his name from the D.C. Court of Appeals, never made it. And then after that, his wife accidentally OD'd on prescription drugs. And Miguel Estrada came to the country from Honduras, could not speak a lick of English. Columbia, then Harvard Law School, became an assistant attorney general, and still it got held up for 2 years. Did I mention he's from Honduras? So, the Democrats have no problem stopping, quote, people of color, close quote, from going to the higher courts. But when Republicans dare to ask her questions about being soft on pornography, questions about her support for critical race theory, questions about whether or not she can define what a woman is, Well, they are absolutely racist, and it shows you, quote, that racism and sexism are alive and well. Do these people have any shame at all? Any?
PSA for white people and white men everywhere.
Don't say that.
Call a Harvard law educated woman articulate, clean, well spoken.
I take her point. It's condescending. It's condescending no matter who does it. I wrote in my first book, The 10 Things You Can't Say in America, about the 1984 Democratic National Convention. Jesse Jackson ran for president, and his children spoke. And his children went to the same schools as did the Mondale children, who was the nominee. And the Mondale children spoke, and the Jackson children spoke. And the media fell over themselves using the word articulate to refer to the Jackson children, but they never used that word to refer to the Mondale children. Now, these were left-wing people. This thing on?